Welcome back to the program. In studio, Al Keith. Al is the CEO of Milwaukee College Prep. Welcome to the program, Al. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. How are you?
I'm doing good. And then Colleston Morgan, who I've known for some time now. Colleston is the executive director of City Forward Collective. Glad you guys could make it today.
Thanks for having us, Sherwin.
Yeah, thank you.
I talk about education several times a week, some cases several times a day, because we dive into issues that impact our community most. And more often than not, it comes down to education, lack thereof, far too many children. And I see our children as the future workforce of Milwaukee. And if we are not preparing them, then we're going to have to get our workforce from somewhere else. And I would rather it come from here. There's a thing called an opportunity gap. I'm going to start with you, Colleston. Can you explain to folks what an opportunity gap is and how it impacts students in Milwaukee?
Yeah, so the opportunity gap is the distance between students who are wealthier, often whiter, how they're achieving and performing academically, and what that looks like for communities of color, and most especially for Black kids. And we here in Milwaukee have long struggled with one of the largest opportunity gaps of any city in the country.
Going a bit off script here, why is it so political? Why is educating young people and getting them prepared for either higher education or vocations or a life of work, why have we politicized that? I know you guys may not have the answer, but I'm still trying to figure out why it is more political than it is anything else.
I find myself asking the same question. Our kids' future, our country's future and well-being should never be a question, right? And so, when you guys find that answer, let me know. But it's in my mind. It's something that is just, at a point it gets silly. We should be dedicating every resource possible to our kids, which are the future of our country, our city, and the world.
Well, you're over at, I'm going to get you 1 second.
Yeah,
I got to
go
ask
for
the big bad charter school. Man,
It's okay. I'm glad he's a bad guy for once.
well, it's your fault. See, these charter schools and these other types of schools that are not traditional public schools, see, you're the problem. You're taking money away from the traditional public schools, and that's why the traditional public schools are struggling, because charter schools, even successful ones, happen to be a problem for the district. Can we just add a little more logic to that, Al, and why charter schools are not the problem? In some cases, they are the necessary alternative to underperforming public schools.
No, let me just go on record in saying that charter schools are public schools. Milwaukee College Prep is a public school. Free admission, no screening process, blind admissions. We take all scholars in, and so we are a public school. I think the special sauce here is, number one, just the core values of who MCP and many of the charter schools, successful charter schools across the city are, and what they hold dear to. But the other thing is that, we're allowed to innovate, right? And so we don't just settle for the status quo. We do what we need to do to meet our kids where they are and get them to be successful. And so, we're innovative. We love to embrace the challenge, and we do what we need to do for kids.
You can hire the best talent without them necessarily having to be members of the union. Does that somewhat sound like an accurate statement? So, and listen, I'm not over here union bashing. Well, not right now and not today. But there are some situations where teachers may underperform, and in any other endeavor in the world, an underperforming employee, we got to let you go. You're not making the mark. You're not a good employee. Sometimes that gets a little murky when they have representation that is not necessarily looking at their performance, but looking at their affiliation. However, I digress. Otherwise, I will get to union bashing. Colleston, let me ask you, how are charter schools, which are public schools, and I know that, how are they addressing the opportunity gap? And can you give a couple examples?
Yeah, so look, different kids have different needs. I see Al's got his MCP jacket on today. I'm wearing a different type of jacket, right? Different people need different things. And so charter schools are able to address the opportunity gap by making sure that they are delivering what the students in their school building needs, right? Al and the educators that work with him every day know those students in MCP. They greet them in the morning. They have a feel for what's going on in their family life. They're embedded in that community and know deeply the challenges, the opportunities, the hopes, all those things. And they can customize the education for what those students need. That might be different than what my children need. That might be different than what a child on the South Side needs. And that's okay, right? Addressing this opportunity gap by giving families the opportunity to find the school that best fits their child's needs, the jacket that best fits that kid, That's what these schools of choice do.
I think I made the distinction because there are some public education purists, and they know that charter schools are public schools too, but they make a distinction, right? Like they don't see like, oh no, charters are just an addition to what we can offer a variety of different types of children, et cetera, et cetera. So there are other people that make the distinction. So when they hear charter school, automatically they may think, oh, this is something that is taking away from public schools. But they are public schools, but there's also a caveat. They get less per pupil funding. So they are traditional public schools. Is there any explanation for that? If they are traditional public schools, why are they getting less funding, and how is that funding made up?
Not an explanation, but a statement. They shouldn't, and you're right. In some cases, that's $3,000-$4,000 less per student that they're getting to serve students with the same needs, the same backgrounds. Like we've looked at this. We're now about half of the kids in Milwaukee attend schools outside of MPS. About half of them attend schools inside MPS. When you look at them demographically, when you look at them in terms of the circumstances and the challenges, they're not that different, the one from the other. And in many cases, they're in the same family, in the same household. One kid might be at a traditional school, the next kid over might be at a charter school. Why that student deserves thousands of dollars less is a question we've been asking for years. The answer is they don't, right? The answer is the needs are the same. We should be funding kids based on what they need, wherever they choose to go to school, so that each kid gets the education they deserve.
We often hear about the number of young people in our public schools that are not on grade level, they're below grade level, they're less than proficient for the level that they should be at. How do charter schools support students that are behind grade level, and is there any evidence that they can actually get to grade level and maybe even achieve higher?
No, absolutely. And so just some background on MCP, we've always looked at how do we support the individual child. And so that means on grade level, above grade level, below grade level. And so we do purposeful and mission-aligned hiring to meet the needs of our kids. We put in place the appropriate programming. We have the freedom and autonomy to choose the correct curriculum and programming that is needed for our kids. And so, Colleston, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the proof is in the pudding. I think MCP's results year over year, actually entering our 28th year of operation, have spoken to it is possible, and it's what our kids deserve.
No correction there. I'll just add, we know this is true in Milwaukee. We know we've got schools like Milwaukee College Prep that are moving the bar for kids here in the city, but we also know it's true nationally. I think just yesterday or just earlier this week, the Progressive Policy Institute came out with a report showing that in cities where you've got more public schools of choice, public charter school options, you see increases in academic achievement, closing of that opportunity gap, not just for students who are attending those public charter schools, but it actually improves outcomes at the district too. And that's across, I think they looked at a half dozen different cities around the country. So we know this works. We know this works because we see examples like that here in Milwaukee, from Milwaukee College Prep. We know it works because we see examples in other cities around the country.
Al, what steps are charter schools taking to make sure that students from low-income and minority backgrounds are given equal opportunities?
Yeah, I think the very first step is making sure that kids are coming to school. And so one of the things that I'm very proud of is the work that MCP has always done, but is still continuing to do, in making sure that kids are engaged, families are engaged, and a part of what we do. And so it's not uncommon. You walk through an MCP school, you'll see a parent in a classroom. You'll see a parent conversing with an administrator. And that family engagement is another one of those secret sauces that goes into what we do. But again, it's being responsive to the data and responsive to the needs of our kids in the moment. And so, not just testing kids just to test kids, not just putting them through the gamut of curriculum just to do it, but let's be intentional and purposeful about it. Let's take the data, let's react to what the kids need. And that's the first step that we're taking in driving those outcomes.
I like data because it tells a story and it paints a very vivid picture. And I know, Colleston, you're a data guy. Is there any data or success stories that highlight the impact that charter schools are having on students?
Yeah. So, part of the challenge here, like I love data, and one of the challenges I'm having right now is that the state has been messing around in the data a bit. But let me use the data that the state put out just this week. We just got back assessment results for all of our schools across the city. The headline picture, unfortunately, hasn't changed much. Students in Milwaukee continue to trail well behind our state, one of the biggest gaps in the country. Black students in particular across Milwaukee, and more than half of the state's black students are educated here in Milwaukee, amongst the worst results in the country. And we've seen it time and time again. It's a story I'm quite frankly sick of telling, but it's the reality, and we got to face it. But then when you look at a school like Milwaukee College Prep, those results are 2 and 3 times sometimes as strong as what we see across the city as a whole. So we know that there are schools that are doing the work, that are engaging parents, that are in the classrooms teaching high quality instruction every day, that are able to get our kids moving, get our kids educated, and put them on a different path and a different trajectory for their future.
Colleston, you recently penned an op-ed in the Journal Sentinel that could be a sermon, and so thank you for writing that. I actually shared it in the Hughes Views Facebook group, so if you guys have not read that op-ed, please read it. It so thoroughly explains all the things that, like what he said in that op-ed, it would take me 17 weeks of radio shows to be able to explain, so thank you so much for that, Colleston. And Al, how can our listeners support Milwaukee College Prep and other organizations focused on closing the opportunity gap for students in Milwaukee?
Yeah, get involved. You can start off by going to our website. Lots of great information there, particularly if you go to the support section of our website. But we're very, very grassroots, and so call your local campus, get in touch with the administration there, figure out what you can do. I mean, we look at all treasures of time, of talent, and so if there's a special expertise that you want to share with the community, share with our kids, share with our staff, please, I just urge everybody to reach out. But you can find all of that information there on our website.
Al Keith and Colleston Morgan, thank you guys so much for being here. You guys got to come back. Let's do this again.
Anytime.
Anytime. We'd love to.
All right. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM. We'll be right back.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com. You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Truth Nation, this sweetest day, we're turning up the romance. Tune in all week because we're giving away the ultimate giveaway, complete with a private pool, fireplace, and the intimacy you could dream of. All. Yeah, the intimacy you could dream of at the Sybaris Pool Suites. Once per day this week, we'll be granting 5 lucky winners an escape to the most romantic destination in all the Midwest. Tune into all of your favorite shows on 101.7 The Truth for your chance to win. Only on the award-winning 101.7 The Truth. Oh, yeah. Join us for our first ever Truth Summit on Saturday, October 26th from 10 a.m. until 1 p.m. at the 3rd Street Market Hall. This exclusive in-person roundtable will examine the state of finances, education, and politics for Black Milwaukee. Dr. Ken will be joined by expert guests like Sherwin Hughes, Jason Fields, Dr. Lita Mallett, and Dr. Glenn Matthews for insights and a lively debate that you can't afford to miss. Reserve your spot for the Truth Summit by visiting 1017thetruth.com. That is 1017thetruth.com. The Truth Summit is sponsored by One Milwaukee, and free food will be catered by Shawnee's Exquisite Catering. Truth Nation 1017 Day, a.k.a. Truth Day, is next Thursday, and to celebrate, we're hosting Truth Spirit Week. During Truth Spirit Week, we'll be giving away 10 $25 gift cards to the Pfister Cafe on all of your 1017 The Truth shows. And I read that already. So just listen to the truth all the time. Listen, I see the comments in the YouTube chat. I can't do anything about other hosts' shows and their content. I'm not here for that. I got to worry too much about what I'm doing and my show and the information I'm trying to convey. I'm not over here trying to right the ship of somebody else's show. We offer a variety of different shows, okay? And I know you guys want me to, y'all want to start a beef. I'm not here for beef starting. I don't want to do that. I got enough I need to worry about. I'm not trying to start no beef with somebody I may disagree with. Joe Slasky, I can tell by your last name you in the wrong chat, buddy. Sound like you want a trip to the Quiet Place. The Quiet Place, for those of you that don't know, is when you come into the YouTube chat and you say things that are disrespectful or ignorant, or if you try to bully somebody. The Quiet Place is where you go, where you never come back. You're not able to chat. And here's what I'll say. In these very polarizing political times, ladies and gentlemen, if there is content, whether it be radio or a podcast or any other kind of broadcast, that you fundamentally and vehemently disagree with, don't go after the host and don't attack the people that are listening to that content. Go listen to something else. It just ain't for you. Why would you go to a restaurant where you hate the food and then complain to the staff and the manager and the waitress and the cook about how much you hate the food. Just don't eat there. The Truth with Sherwin-Hughes is an exquisite restaurant. Most of you don't have taste buds sophisticated enough for how exclusive this menu is. I can't make you like what I serve. Go somewhere else and get you a grilled cheese sandwich. You got infantile taste buds. Go somewhere else. They serve fast food. This ain't fast food. My show is a gourmet meal. My show is courses. My show is like it pairs well with a nice Chardonnay. You know what I mean? It's very specific. I know this ain't who the hell I think it is calling my damn line one. I know it. It's not. It can't be. It's not. Why? First of all, Dr. Ken, you got your own show. No. Put them on. Come on. You wanted to call. Come on. Say what you got to say.
What do you
man.
want? I didn't call. I just said you was tripping.
You think I don't have a phone in the studio?
I'm not on today. I said you're tripping.
So because you ain't broadcasting today, you gonna call and invade my show. All right.
Of course. Well, you said put him on. I didn't say put him on. I didn't call your show. I called to talk to the producer.
No, you didn't.
Said put me on.
What you want to talk to the producer for? You ain't working today, man. You shouldn't be calling here at all.
None of your business. None of your business. See, now you're trying to get in another host business. Didn't you just tell people not to do that?
You just called my show. This is my show. This is 833-212-1017 belongs to Sherwin-Hughes between 9 and 12. And as far as I can turn at 8-12,
it belongs to whoever called.
You're a racist. How's that sound?
I hate myself?
You're a racist. Goodbye, Dr. Ken. I've got to finish my show, and I don't want you having the last word.
Have a great weekend.
All right. You too.
All right. Bye.
Bye. Why? What is this, man? Yeah, I don't have a show today. All right. Black Votes Matter is in town doing a bunch of Get Out the Vote events all weekend long. If you go to the Hughes Views Facebook group, there's a listing of those events. And yeah, I guess that's it. Well, what did we learn today? Black men don't want to support Kamala Harris because they're probably sexist. And we also learned that I give the best relationship advice on the planet. On that note, thank you guys for listening. It's been a very productive week. Have yourselves a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you next time.